Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Book Geek, also known as Kiava, and today, finally, I'm going to tell you about all my most anticipated book releases for 2021. But first, I would like to tell you all about my book blog. It's titled The Book Geek Plus, and on this blog, I discuss books and movies and other fun things. You can find different information about different authors. You can find book recommendations here. I love movies. I watch a lot of movies, so I talk a lot about movies on my blog. I offer special shout outs. There's lots of fun things here to explore and learn about. And of course, I have lots of other fun things coming. Please feel free to check it out. The links are listed down below in the description box. Also, I just recently started making and selling bookmarks, so you can find my Etsy shop link down below as well. I also have my own website where I sell most of my items from Etsy on this website as well. But my son Zai King is also a very talented artist. He's starting to sell his art and artwork merchandise, which can only be found and purchased via my website. At the moment, we have t-shirts in production, bookmarks, and stickers, and many more art merchandise pieces coming soon. So if you'd like to support him, you can visit my website via the Squarespace link down below. Also, if you love movies as much as I do, I am now on LETTERBOXD, which will also be linked down below. Now, some of these books have already been released for the year, but that's okay because I haven't read them yet, so I'm still highly anticipating these. And I have a lot to go through. I tried to narrow this list down as much as possible. Originally, I had came up with 21 books that I'm excited for 2021, but then the list just kept growing. So I might split this up into two parts if it starts to become too long. Because I have so many books to talk about, I'm not going to be going into great description of these books. But the first book on the list is Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a fantasy / science fiction novel. I read the synopsis and was immediately intrigued by it. This woman is basically like deaf. Her touch is deaf, and with a glance, a town can fall. So basically, deaf is like her only companion, except for a fox that she keeps by her side, which I love it when human characters have animal companions. And she's on the search for this object that fell from the sky because she believes that's going to give her some answers about whatever she is searching for. It just sounded so interesting to me. I found that to be so intriguing, and it gave nothing away, and it sounds very original, so I would love to read it. The next book is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a horror thriller. It is described as Shirley Jackson meets Friday the 13th. The next book is titled Somewhere Between Bitter and Sweet. It is described as I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter meets Emergency Contact. Now, I did read I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter and absolutely adored it. I actually got a chance to meet the author one year at BookCon and got my book signed by her. That book was excellent. If you haven't read that book, go ahead and read it. This one is a contemporary young adult coming of age story. It's going to involve first loves and finding where one belongs in the world. This next one is a huge one. It is Life After Death by Sister Soldier, and this is the long-awaited sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever. Yes, she did have companion novels that went with The Coldest Winter Ever that were about a character named Midnight, but this is the direct sequel to that first novel. And of course, this is an adult fiction book. This next one is a children's middle grade book, and I love children's books and I love middle grade books, and that is Root Magic. The cover is absolutely stunning also. It is a historical ghost story set in the 60s. It is described as a tale of courage, friendship, and black girl magic. I'm actually going to pass this book along to my son after I read it myself, or we may actually read it together. I'll have to wait and see, but definitely want to read this one. The next book is titled The Project. This is a young adult thriller mystery book, and I believe this book is sort of like a cult story or a secret society type of story. This next one is titled Indivisible, and I think it is so relevant right now because it's going to deal with immigration and deportation. It is a young adult contemporary novel. The next book I would love to read is Island Queen. This is a historical fiction novel. It is based on the real life story of someone, a free woman of color who rose from slavery to become one of the wealthiest and most powerful landowners in the colonial West Indies. The next book is titled The Marvelous Mirza Girls. It is a young adult contemporary romance, and this story is going to test the boundaries of love. The next book is titled The Chosen and the Beautiful. This is a historical fiction novel with a little bit of fantasy sprinkled in there. This next one sounds incredible, and the cover is just to die for, and that is The Cost of Knowing. This is a young adult contemporary fantasy novel, and it has magical realism elements. In this story, Alex can see visions, like future visions of the things that he touches. And he touches a photo of his brother and he sees his death. And that changes everything. And so this one is going to grapple with the reality of being a black man in America. It is said to be Dear Martin meets They Both Die at the End. I'm terrified to read this one. I'm always terrified to read books about black people going through traumatic experiences that are related to being black in America. But I want to read it nonetheless. Not to mention his brother's name is Isaiah, and I have a little brother named Isaiah, and he is a junior in high school, so he's at that age where he's going to be going out into the world on his own, and that is fucking terrifying. Every black person that has a male in the family, which is all of us, have this fear when our male relatives leave the house and have to go out into the world. And now, I mean, not just now, in the past as well, but we aren't even safe in our homes anymore now. So I have this fear for him all the time. Plus, I got 2 black sons. So picking up these type of books is very, very difficult for me. So it takes me a long time to finally be brave enough to read a story like this. But I have to read this one. The next story is titled The Knockout. This is a sports-related story, and usually I don't really like reading sports stories, but this one is going to deal with so much more deeper issues than that. Plus, I think it involves boxing based off the cover, and it involves the Olympics, and I love the Olympics, and I'm a huge boxing fan. So this is a young adult contemporary. There's going to be a romance aspect in this story as well. The next book is titled The Conductors. The next one is titled Hurricane Summer. I love this cover. It is a young adult contemporary novel. It is a coming of age story that is going to take place during an actual hurricane. So the young girl in this story is trying to come to terms with herself and her family. She's battling an internal storm while an actual storm is occurring right outside her door. The next book is titled Your Heart, My Sky. It is a historical young adult novel. This next one should be very hard-hitting. It is a young adult historical fiction story that is going to take place during the Greenwood Massacre of 1921. This book is titled Angel of Greenwood. In an area of Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was a place known as Black Wall Street, and this story is going to talk about how a white mob stormed into this town and basically destroyed it. Well, not basically, destroyed. They destroyed this town. Another one that's going to be hard for me to pick up. The cover is magnificent, by the way. Oh my God, look at this cover. The next book is titled Chlorine Sky. This is a book that is written in verse, and it is a coming-of-age story written in verse about a young girl who is emerging into herself and sort of coming out of the shadow of other people. This next book is titled Love is a Revolution. It is a young adult contemporary romance. In this story, we have a plus-size main character who sort of instantly finds herself attracted to this young boy, and he is an activist. So she pretends to have this huge interest in the things that he likes in order to have a relationship with him. But it's becoming harder and harder for her to keep up with her lies. This is supposed to be a story about how a girl, yes, finds love in someone else, but also learns a lot about self-love. The next book is titled One Carefree Day. This is a young adult contemporary novel about a young girl named Willow who is struggling with anxiety and OCD. The next book is titled Off the Record. It is a young adult contemporary, and it is going to be reminiscent of the Me Too movement and how women stand up for one another. So this next one sounds really amazing. It is a children's middle grade book, and it is titled Amari and the Night Brothers. It's going to involve fantasy and magic and mystery. Amari's brother Quentin is going to go missing, and he's going to leave something behind that's just for her, and she's going to discover this whole other world. And in this world, she's going to have to compete against other kids who already know about this supernatural, otherworldly place and otherworldly creatures. During this competition, the contestants have their supernatural abilities enhanced, but somehow she ends up with an illegal ability. She's certain that by participating in all of this, she can discover what became of her brother. But of course, there's some sinister evil magician that's threatening the entire supernatural world, and it's a threat to her and everything that she's trying to accomplish. It sounds really good. The cover, once again, gorgeous. This next one is actually a graphic novel. It is titled Squire, and it is set in a Middle Eastern fantasy world. In this graphic novel, a 14-year-old girl wants to become a knight, most especially to elevate her status, because her and her people are considered second-class citizens in this world. So she conceals her cultural background so that she can study and practice as a squire. But then a good friend of hers gets injured during a raid, and she uncovers a military conspiracy that could jeopardize everything that she's been trying to accomplish. Okay, so I'm going to have to split this video up into two parts. This is part one. I really hope you seen and heard some books that you might be interested in. I can't wait to finally read some of these. Don't know when I'm ever going to get to them. Probably not even this year. But here's hoping. Anyway, all of these books are on my list to be read sometime in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you know each time I post a video, and keep an eye out for part 2 that will be coming soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.